Hello friends, welcome back to the video series in Oracle SQL Programming. In this video, we will discuss on the DQL, that means Data Query Language, and more precisely on the select statement in SQL. Select statement is under DQL or Data Retrieval Language category, as select statement is always used to retrieve data from the database. More precisely, from table, we can categorize it under data query language. However, select statement is also used to search data according to user's requirement. Select clause specifies the columns to search. Select always search from the specified columns for any table. Suppose in the table employee, there are 7 columns such as EMPID, first name, last name, gender, date of join, date of birth and DPT ID or department ID. If we specify only 3 columns such as EMPID, first name and DPT ID with select clause, only these columns would be as the output. If we want all the columns in the output, we use asterisk with the select clause. From clause indicates the data source or the table. Select clause always followed by the from statement, that is, from which data source select would search the data according to our requirement. As we are always searching our data from table, our data source is always a table and simply the name of the table from which we are collecting our data would be with the from clause. Column search can be modified using different expressions. Using select, we can refine our searches, such as in the employee table, we have 2 columns, first name and last name. Instead of viewing them separately as in the output, we can concatenate them to get the output as the full name. Suppose salary is a column. Instead of getting the output of salary only for 1 month, we can multiply the value of salary with 12 to get the output salary per annum. So these are the expressions which are used as expressions with the select clause. So put in mind this all together, we have to open the SQL Plus editor and we have to check it practically. Let's open the SQL Plus. Write down the username as system and the password, as you know throughout the video, is the password. So we are now connected to the Oracle Database 21C Express Edition. At first, clear the screen for better view. Now, any select statement is very simple. At first, write down the select command and the name of the columns we want to view the data, and then the from keyword, and then the name of the table from where we want to get the output. And always remember, to view all the columns, just use asterisks in places of name of the columns. At first, write down the statement, that is DESC employee. From here, we can find the name of the columns we want and can use with the select. However, at first, we are using the asterisk to check all the data for all the columns from the employee table. So we have to type, that is select, then the star or the asterisk, and then the from keyword, and then the name of the table, and that one is the employee, semicolon, and press enter. Now we can see the output is not in the proper manner, so we have to type the statement like that: set lines to 76, and then once again type the statement select asterisk from employee. And now we have a better view. As you see, all the records present in the employee table are retrieved. as we know, the employee table have EMPID, first name, last name, email ID, gender, contact number, join date, department ID and salary are the columns present. And here also we have EMPID, first name, last name, email ID, gender, contact number, join date, department ID and salary, the columns present. And total number of records are 26 in the employee table. Now, if we want, we can particularly choose some fields for the output as we desire, such as select EMPID, comma, first name, comma, last name, comma, contact number from employee. Press enter. Unknown command beginning, that means here we have select, so we have to type it select. So here only the EMPID, first name, last name and the contact number, these 4 columns has been represented. And as you know, there are total records 26. So all the records are retrieved here but with the particular fields. This type of filtering the columns during the output with select clause is called as projection. Now, suppose we want to make some changes in the output, such as to get full name instead of the fields first name and last name separately. We can concatenate them. And for that, suppose we are here at first clearing the screen, and then we can write the statement like that, that must be select EMPID, comma, then the first name, that particular column, and after that the double piping symbol. Then we are using a single quote, and between the single quote there is a blank, and once more the double piping sign and the next column, that is last name, then comma, then contact number. Now from which table? Now from employee, semicolon and press enter. Now you can check here that we have the total name concatenated, that means the first name and the last name, but there is a problem that we have not provided any space in between the single quote. So here once again we are typing the statement and providing a space here, and then press enter, and the 26 rows selected, but at that moment after concatenation of the first name column and the last name column, and we have the complete name provided here. As usual, the records are total 26. So a blank is there in between the single quote to make a gap between the first name and the last name, and the double pipe symbols are used for the concatenation. So this is the expressions we can use with the select clause. Now, if we want to get the annual salary for each employee, multiply the salary with 12 in the statement. And for here, the same statement we are using, but instead of the contact number, that particular column, we are using here, that is salary, and then multiplication with 12 from the employee table. Let's check. And we have the salary into 12. That means the salary has been represented here, that is the salary per annum for each and every employee. Suppose here we are not using the start 12 and here we are using salary only. Suppose Shumona Das, the salary was 10,800, or for FN103 with the last name LN103 has the salary 10,000. So after multiplication with 12, the salary is 1,20,000. That means salary per annum. So that is also one type of expression we can use with the select statement. So we are getting the annual salary for each employee. Now to change the heading name not as the expression, we can use the alias, such as once again we are typing that salary start 12th and the first name with the last name concatenated statement. So here we have the heading as first name with last name and salary start 12. So we want to change the heading at that moment. And for that we have to type the same statement we are using here. Select empid first name double pipe, then single quote with a gap and then another double pipe and then the last name. But after that we are using an alias, and that one is as, suppose here we are writing it as employee name, and salary start 12, then the another alias as annual salary from employee. Press enter, and here we can check the heading has been changed. The records are same, the values are same, the data are same, but the heading has been changed. Now if we want to add space between the name of the alias, we can use the space, and we have to write down the alias in double quote, such as here we want a space between the employee and the name, that particular two words, and for that we have to use the double quote in the case of alias. So employee name, and here for the alias of annual salary, once again the double quote, and after the word annual then double quote. Press enter, and here we can find the heading with the space in between them. So for the space we have to use the alias name in between the double quote. Now remember, when typing this type of statement using alias, as keyword is optional, such as here we are removing the as keyword, and also here we are removing the as keyword. Press enter, and here the output is the same. So with as keyword or without as keyword, both give the same output, but using of as keyword always make the statement very clear. Now suppose we want to retrieve the list of departments from the table employee, and check here is a column that is DPT ID. So once again we are here for DSC and employee, and as usual the set lines we have to use, and that we are using suppose 150, it would be better, and once again DSC employee, and here we can find there is a column that is DPT ID. Now if we type the statement like that, select only DEPT ID from employee, press enter, and here we can find that total 26 rows or records has been selected. Here we can see the records are shown in a list, and there are repetition of departments, and that is obvious. Many employees can work in a single department, such as here 10, 10 and 30, 20, 40, 90. So there are so much repetitions. To get the list of only available departments but no repetition of departments, we can proceed in the way of using distinct keyword. Let's check what the distinct keywords do. And for that, select, and here we can use the distinct, then the name of the column, and press enter. 8 rows selected or 8 records selected. Now here we are getting all the department IDs are appearing only once. That means 20 appearing only once, 40 appearing only once, like that. If null value present in the field, that would be also a distinct value, and that's why first one is a null. So to remove the repetition or duplicacy from the output, we have to use the distinct keyword after the select statement. So this is the way how we can use the select statement to retrieve data or records from any table. In the next video, we would check how we can sort records or data in the output.